Marketplace Guy here. Hey, so the Elacs behind me, they are the new 3.0 debuts, and I never listened to the predecessor, the 2.0s, but I know that I heard tons of good things about them. So now I have these in for review. I bought them myself, so Elac has no idea that I exist. At least I don't think they do. So this is my own thoughts, my own words. So if you're not familiar with how I do my bookshelf speaker reviews, what I do is I take them out of this room here into my home theater and I listen to them in a normal application, sitting in your listening position, watching movies, listening to music, and then I come in here and I listen to them near field like we are now, and then I give you a review while we listen to music together. So I'm gonna give you guys a proper review. So these come in at $4.49 or $4.50, something in that ballpark. And then you can get the smaller bookshelves, 5 1/4 driver instead of 6 1/2, and they come at just under $400. So there's two versions of these 3.0s. I'm going to tell you right now to skip the smaller bookshelf speaker and go for the bigger ones because they sound way more fuller in my personal opinion. So let's listen to a song together and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a review. This music is completely random. I don't know what any of these songs are. I'm just going to click them and we are going to listen to them. So let's try this one. So, over the past few days to weeks, I've really been thinking about what I want to say about these speakers. So, here's what I really like about them. So, when I did my unboxing and overview video, one of the things that I said about the speaker, just kind of initial impression, is that it has a really big port on the back. And I was expecting pretty good amounts of bass from the speaker just based off of the port that it has. So that stands true. This speaker is rated down to like the lower 40 hertz region, and it gets every bit of those 40 hertz. I think 42 hertz is what it's rated at, and it gets to 42 hertz truly. So I love to see when a manufacturer makes a claim and then the speaker actually backs it up. I love that. That's how it should always be. It's not always the case. With these, what you see on paper is what you actually get out of these speakers. So the bass reproduction with this is actually quite good. I'm actually impressed with the amount of bass that comes out of them. Well, I won't say the amount of bass, but the quality of bass I really like. Because even though it's I wouldn't call it a big bookshelf speaker, I've definitely seen bigger. It definitely packs the punch you expect. I don't think it punches above its weight in terms of overall bass capabilities, bass reproduction, but the bass that does come out of this speaker is actually very smooth. I do like it. There are times where you can accidentally run into a song or two that's a bit punchy, but overall it handles bass pretty well. As far as what I'm using to power these speakers, I'm using the SVS Soundbase Pro right now, so it's getting 120 watts at 4 ohms, maybe a little bit less than that if you have a less hungry speaker. So let's call it 80 watts, 100 watts. So it's getting pretty decent power. I think they're rated at 120 watts anyway. So they're getting all the juice. And I think it really appreciates that. And you can really tell with the tasteful bass that comes out of it. Mid-range is a little bit of a funny one. So the bass is really smooth. The mid-range isn't bad either, but it's not my favorite mid-range that I've heard in the bookshelf speaker. Not by any means is it a bad sound, but like I said, you can run into a song or two that just comes out a little bit boxy, but it may just be the environment that it's in. It does sound different depending on where you put them in. I have them in my theater room, they're way apart, and they do obviously sound different than in a room like this with no acoustic treatment or whatever. But I'm thinking more in terms of what I heard in my home theater room. I do like these. Sometimes the bass can get away from you a little bit, but overall the mid bass and the low bass frequencies are pretty good. Let's talk about that treble, that high end, this tweeter here. So I think this speaker kind of leans more to the warmer side. So if you like that warmer, maybe even fuller body, chesty sound, You actually get that out of these bookshelf speakers. There's not a world where I found these fatiguing. There's not a world where I found them harsh or bright, because they just don't seem to be that kind of speaker. They are definitely on the warmer end with the bass they produce, the mid bass, and then kind of that roll off at the high end. It feels like there's a roll off at the high end. They don't come across as a bright or fatiguing or harsh or anything like that. They are definitely a warm speaker. So I do recommend, if you have these speakers or are looking for them, to match them with the other Elac speakers that come in the package. So you get the tower speaker, there's more bookshelves, there's a center channel. If you're looking to build a home theater based off of these, match them, because there's not quite a sound that sounds like theirs. So you don't want to mix and match speakers, because they have a distinctive sound. Not very bright. They definitely have high-end register. They definitely have a floaty sound, but it's on the warmer side. So I found myself wishing there was more treble, and that could just be because of the Soundbase Pro. I don't have tone controls, but if I did, I would probably raise the treble 1 or 2 dBs just to bring out some more of the tweeter, because what it does do is very tasteful. It is very good. It does sound fantastic, honestly. I just wish there was more of it, because you do get a lot of mid bass in this speaker, and it's nice to have some of that clarity pushed through when you're listening to songs that have a lot of bass. So I don't know if I can find a song that has a lot of bass in it.
I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid to love, not afraid to love you. I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid to love, not afraid to love you. They always bring on the lonely.
See, that's a good song for right there. The voices are clear, they're intelligible. You can tell what's going on here. And it had a decent bass line, and I really like the low bass that the speaker produces versus the mid bass, because the low bass is like really well blended. So it's not very loud, it's very controlled, it's pretty tight and articulate. So kudos to Elac for that. But I wish there's a little bit more treble in there. There is a song here that I recognize that might have some bass. Yeah, so the speakers are really good. I don't think that they perform outside their price range. I think they give you exactly what you deserve for the money you spend. I don't think they're like a diamond in the rough necessarily. I do think there are a lot of speakers in the price point that will also give you a good sound like this. So I don't think that they're anything crazy. I do think that they sound great, and you won't be disappointed if you buy them. And I don't even think you need to compare them to anything else. I think if you want a pair of these, just go get them, because they will satisfy you. But they won't blow you away. They are very good, but they won't blow you away. And that's fine. $450 for a pair of bookshelf speakers, they're doing exactly what I expect them to. Elac's spec sheet, all the marketing they do for the speakers, clarity, detail, whatever, it's true. It's there. I have no complaints for the speaker whatsoever. I have some, what is the word I want to use? I have some characteristics of a speaker that I personally like, that I wish that they did. That's not to the fault of Elac. It's just I have a certain taste now. As I've gotten older and listened to a lot of speakers, I figured out what I really like now. And I like the Elacs, no problem, but there's some things that you just don't get at this price point. So I like them, to be very honest with you. And I think that if you were to grab the tower speakers, grab a center channel, and then put these in the surround, I think you would have a home theater that you would absolutely love. If you wanted to buy them for just 2-channel music, I still think they'd be good for that. You won't have to rush out and go buy a subwoofer unless you're listening to music that plays in the 30 hertz region all the time. These will handle your 40 hertz and upwards with no problem, and they get really loud too, so they'll do fine for 2-channel music, kind of how we're listening now. I will say this too, since I'm sitting near field, yes, I'm opposite direction of where they should be, but I'm sitting near field, they don't sound half as good near field as they do further away. So the more that you can get away from them, the better they're going to sound. The closer you get to them, they kind of lose a lot of that bass, and the imaging kind of goes away. You lose that big wall of sound. But when you back up from them, and you let the room kind of take a little bit of effect with the speakers, you really get a really good sound. Sitting this close, the room is doing hardly anything to the speakers from this distance, but as I back up, even in this room, as I back up, the bass increases, the volume level, the imaging, the wall of sound starts to get bigger. So these speakers are not something you want to be close to. Although that they're small, maybe made for a small room, I still think a little bit of breathing room would be good for these speakers, because then it can do its magic. It can actually use the room to its advantage to give you a little bit bigger sound than what they actually are. So if you plan on being close to these speakers, maybe not. If you're going to listen to them for music, if you're going to use them as side surround speakers, yeah, you win. Now, you can do that, no problem. But if you're going to listen to them for music like we're doing now, you definitely want to be a little bit further away. 6 feet, 5 feet, that's a good, at least 6 feet, so that you can let them breathe and give you some bass. I'm going to continue that song because I want to see where that song goes. I think there's some bass. I want to hear it. So let's try it. Let's continue. To end this video, I'm going to end it by saying I don't think there's going to be anybody out there in the world that listens to these speakers and doesn't like them. There's nothing not to like about these speakers. Again, I don't think that they perform, hundreds of dollars above their price point. I think when you buy these speakers and you read the spec sheet and you listen to reviews or whatever, I think you're getting exactly what you deserve out of these speakers. I think when you pay $450 for these speakers, you're going to get $450 worth of performance out of them. So that's all you can ask for. We're in a time where everything is better than its price point, which is fine. So these speakers aren't one of those speakers. I think that they are solid. I think that they are good performers. I think you cannot go wrong with anything Elac, even speakers in their lower lines. But I don't think that they blow away a $1,000 pair of speakers or $700 pair of speakers. I think there are other speakers that sound good at their price point too. I don't think these are miles ahead of anybody else. So with that being said, I really like these speakers, and I will definitely leave the description down below for you guys if you want to look into them yourself, or maybe upgrade from the 2.0s, because they are a definite upgrade from the 2.0s. I do like these a lot more from what I heard. I think in Best Buy they had Elac 2.0s, and I listened to them there. From what I remember, these definitely sound better. So if you want to upgrade, it's a sure upgrade. But that's all I have to say about them. They're good. They're really good speakers, and nothing bad to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and we will see you guys in the next video. Keep it sky out. Peace.